Téléspectateurs, téléspectatrices, avec un pile plaisir, nous recevoir encore une fois dans HTN, Michael Hyman, Mr. Michael Hyman, lui-même cap one for Board of Ed, département l'éducation dans ville Stamford. C'est un Américain, il pas parler et créole, mais nous parle arranger nous pour nous faire interview ça avec lui en anglais. And today is a pleasure for us to have with us on Haitian Television Network, Mr. Mike Hyman, who's running for Board of Ed. Mr. Hyman, how are you?
I am fantastic. I'm happy to be here with you, and thank you for inviting me and giving me a chance to reach out to the community.
And for those who don't know you, because I've been seeing you, I know you for probably more than 19 years.
Yes.
But for the majority of Haitian, a lot of Haitian know you because you have been doing a lot in Stanford, Chester Addison, Domus, Stanford State Against Racism. Name a few, but could you please tell our viewers, the Haitian Television Network viewers, and who are you?
Okay. Well, I've been in Stanford. My wife and I have been here for about 30 years. We moved here from California, but I'm originally from South Carolina. I grew up in a very small town that was segregated at the time, and I was a part of those students who moved to desegregate the schools in my hometown. So I know what it feels like for students to go into a place where people don't necessarily want you, but it's a fight for equal rights and access to a public education that was so important for us. So that's part of my background. I have 4 children, a son and 2 granddaughters down in the Washington, D.C. area. 2 daughters here in Stanford. They're away at school, Julia and Jenna. One is a pre-med major at Hobart and William Smith College. The other has just received her master's in social work, and she is now working on her master's in public health at the University of Boston. And then, of course, I have my daughter Nancy, who's in Atlanta. She is an administrator and a model, a fashion model there. So, but we have connections here in Stanford. The work that I've been doing for the past 20 years has been here in Stanford for equity for all of our children. And when I say all, I mean all. It's not just for one group, but for everyone. And people know that that's my bond, that's what I attempt to do, is to work for equity for everyone. The Haitian community, the Spanish community, the African American, as well as white. I have been a teacher and educator in the Stanford Public Schools. I taught middle school at Turner River several years ago. Now those people are actually adults and professionals in their own lives as well.
And what is the significance of you running for Board of Ed?
Well, at this time, I've been asked to run for the Board of Ed years and years ago, and never did so because I'm not necessarily a politician. I liked working from the outside and helping to garner change, but this year, some things that have happened I'm very concerned about. I don't necessarily have a fear, Emmanuel, but I do have a concern. And what makes me afraid is when other people are not concerned. And in this particular instance, our Board of Education has forgotten their first job. And,
what is it?
And that is to put our children first, to make sure that whatever bickering or adult matters that get in the way, political matters get in the way, get pushed aside so they can make the decisions. Now, I don't know if many of your viewers have watched or been to the Board of Ed meetings, but I'm telling you, the videotapes will show you that they have been rancorous, they've been mean, they've been nasty. And whenever that happens, it's difficult for people to do the business that they were intended to do there. The superintendent needs our support so that we and her staff can actually provide for a decent education for our children. Right now, there are other things that are getting in the way. My priorities are to ensure that we build nice new schools that are inviting, that kids want to be in, and teachers want to be in. So that's a priority of mine, that we do that, but inside those schools, we make them as diverse as possible so that everybody feels as though they're welcome and have a sense of belonging. I happen to think we can do that and use this opportunity to spend the taxpayers' money wisely as well.
And Mr. Michael, how many Democrats are running for Board of Ed? And could you please elaborate on the process, the election, when on November 2nd, when Haitian or people in Stamford going out to vote? So what they should look for?
Well, that's a very good question, because sometimes a ballot can be a confusing thing. And this year is no exception to that. You will see on the ballot, and I want to make sure that people realize that there are going to be several lines. There will be a Democratic line all across the top, row A. There will be an independent line there as well. There will be an unaffiliated line on that ballot. For the Democratic Party, and I will be listed in space 8A. So remember that, 8A, look for that space. There will be 3 Democrats in 7, 8, and 9. What I'm asking you to do is to vote for me in row 8A. The reason for that is that there's only 1 Democratic seat that's available for us, but there are 3 Democrats running. So in that instance, only 1 person can win. The directions will tell you that you can vote for any 3 for Board of Ed, because there are people running for 2 open seats in the Republican Party. But only 1 Democrat can win, and all other seats will go to the Republicans, no matter how many votes they get or how few votes they get.
And Mr. Hyman, do you think racism still exists in the public school? If so, what you gonna do to fix it?
Well, I do believe that this system that we've had over the years, not just in Stamford, but all over the country, has been mired in racist things, and that we can in fact fix. But to fix it requires us to acknowledge that there's a problem, that there may be implicit bias, that there are outcomes and access to things that certain people don't have and don't get. So once we know that information, then it's important for us to do something about it, to act. And what we have is a Board of Education. The members of the Board of Education aren't unified. And because they're not unified, they're not providing the leadership that's necessary to lead the schools and to lead the city in this important effort. I think I provide that I know. I've been around long enough to see the transitions in the city of Stamford and to unify people and to bring them together so that we can work on this for the betterment of our kids and of our society as a whole. So does racism exist? Yes. Can we do something about it? Definitely. And do we want to becomes the matter. Do we have the will to do it?
And Mr. Hyman, and do you have any other particular word you would like to communicate with the Haitian community?
Well, what I'd like to communicate is that I am who I am. I've been in this country as someone who had less than the rights that were desirable. My family was dirt poor in South Carolina, and education was important for us, and we made sure it happened. I was the first member of my family to graduate from college, but I was also the first member of my family going back to 1802, when we were slaves, to graduate from college. And what I'm happy about is that I've led the way for other members of my family. So I have brothers and sisters who have graduated from college, and nieces and nephews. I know what it looks like to struggle, but I also know what it looks like to succeed. And so success looks a hell of a lot better. We can all push for that for everyone. And so that's the way I feel about it, is that I want to make sure that I work for all of the people, all of the time, to make our society better, because I think there's going to be a payoff for all of us when we all do that collectively.
If someone in the community would like to get in touch with you, how?
You can get in touch with me by going to my website, which is Hyman4, the number 4, BOE.com. And in there's a mail system. You can click on it if you'd like to volunteer in any way, or you'd like to send me a message. And it comes directly to my iPhone, like all of the other messages do. Our telephone number is 475-329-4492. So you can actually dial that number and use it. It's not something that is only left for business purposes. You can reach me there or leave a message.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Hyman.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And thank you for coming out on this day. As you know, we're standing in front of the Academy of Information Technology. I'm really proud of this particular place because I was a part of the start of the school, meaning the idea to build it and to make it happen. And so I take a great deal of pleasure whenever I pass by it and I see it and I say, that was something that has provided for the greater good of all.